Hey, welcome to the podcast. Let's talk about SaaS ideas, how to find them and choose which to build. As a solopreneur, one of the most important decisions we make is deciding what to work on. How we spend our time is equal to the results that we get. Inputs equal outputs, and garbage in is still equal to garbage out. So we need good ideas to be able to work on the right opportunities. I'll talk about my process for getting ideas and selecting them. I'll also mention the current project I'm working on towards the end and my experience so far in BuildSpace Season 5. Now, I need you guys to do one thing though, just one thing. Engage with the podcast to please the algorithms and push it to more people. Like, subscribe, comment, follow. Do the verb that correlates with the platform you are listening on. I really appreciate it, and I'm counting on you. So let's get started. I used to waste time trying to think of the perfect idea for my next SaaS. And guess what? It was miserable because what I was looking for just didn't exist. There is no perfect idea, just like there's no perfect anything in this universe. So I changed my process for validating ideas before building. Let's talk about it and what to do if you get stuck with no ideas. When I say ideas, what I'm really saying is problems to solve. Entrepreneurs are really just professional problem solvers. We don't build solutions looking for a problem. We find problems and build solutions. By focusing on the problem, you are focusing on the process. If you're focused on the solution, you are focused on the outcome. To you, that may seem like a minor difference, but these two focuses will result in much different outcomes. So it's important to make sure you're focused on the process. The problem gives your startup purpose and direction. You need to let that be your guide. We can't connect the dots looking forward, so focusing on the outcome is a dangerous gamble. And it's already a dangerous gamble when you are starting a SaaS. The odds are already stacked against you, so you need to do everything possible just to put them a little bit more in your favor. Another thing is you want to solve your own problems because you understand them thoroughly and other people have the same problems as well. And you probably know where you can talk to those people as well, since people who are similar tend to know other similar people. Now, solving others' problems from the outside looking in is just not a recipe for success. But I've seen entrepreneur after entrepreneur try to do this and fail. The only time I've seen it actually work was with a co-founder who had the problem themselves and helped steer the direction of development. Chances are, though, if you're an indie hacker or a solopreneur, you don't want a co-founder. It's a big commitment. It's almost like getting married. And one of the leading reasons for company failures is founder disputes, after all. So we build for freedom anyway, so rather than look for a co-founder to solve better problems, start with what you have. Looking for a co-founder can be a form of procrastination in some cases, and I've seen many founders do this. They'll get started once they have once they find the right co-founder, or once they find funding or whatever. They're just delaying getting started. New problems will find you while you're building things. Each startup is a stepping stone to the next on this journey. You only need to be right one time as an entrepreneur, so don't be afraid to fail. The goal is to build SaaS in the Goldilocks zone. The Goldilocks zone is really just a market that is too small for a corporation to go after currently, but it's also growing. So eventually someday maybe they will. So you need to take advantage of it while it's in that Goldilocks zone. It's typically like a growing trend or something in society that's changing that you could take advantage of. Now, you never want to stop looking for problems to solve. So create an idea note somewhere and keep it updated with ideas as they come to you. You want to put everything there. I'm talking the good, the bad, the ugly. 99% of the ideas in my notes will never see the light of day, but that's intentional because even a terrible idea can serve to inspire. I frequently read through my list and sometimes build on top of the ideas I already have. Now, another thing is share your ideas freely. This helps you validate them and can help you see them in a new light. You never want to guard your ideas. It's always a major red flag when a founder wants a non-disclosure agreement signed just to discuss an idea, because ideas are cheap And that is a scarcity mindset. So execution is really what matters. And two people who build the same idea independently will often execute in their own unique ways. You want to have an abundance mindset because markets can have multiple winners and business is not a zero-sum game. We are not playing football or soccer. You can have multiple winners in the sport of business. The feedback you get from sharing your ideas is worth much more than any potential downside. So just be open, really. When choosing an idea to build, you need a standard to help narrow it down. Creativity flourishes under constraint, and if you don't do this, you will likely suffer from analysis paralysis. Here are my idea constraints that I used when I was selecting my last SaaS idea. All right, so number one, we sort of talked about this, but it needs to be a problem I have myself. So it's going to be a product I would also use myself. I'll be the first beta tester. I'll thoroughly understand the problem, and I'll probably know where to find other people that have the problem as well. Next is it needs to be able to be bootstrapped. So that means I'm not hiring anybody to build this. It's going to be me building it, and I'm not looking for funding either. I want to be able to build this myself with my own resources. And next is the MVP needs to be able to be built quickly. Now I'm talking maybe 2 weeks to 1 month. So in the past, I used to take months to build a project before getting feedback, and it was a lot of wasted time. So now I learned a lot from that. So now I want to just minimize my time invested before getting feedback. So I'll focus on a single feature, get it launched, and see how the feedback steers the direction. Once you launch, a lot of times it can be eye-opening and expose you to different perspectives for advancing the product. So it's really important to get feedback as soon as possible. Next is it needs to be a painkiller product, not a vitamin and not a candy. So painkiller products are products that solve a true need in a user's life. If the product went missing, they would dearly miss it. Now, a vitamin product is a product, it might be nice to have, might have some benefits, but hey, if it went missing tomorrow, nobody's going to be crying about it. It's not a huge deal. Now, candy products are something else entirely. They are products that are kind of like cheap dopamine rushes. They hijack our users' attention. One example of this would be like a gambling app. So the gambling app the benefit for the user is a dopamine rush. Maybe they'll make money sometimes, but the odds are not in their favor. So on the long term, they're going to lose money, and it's going to be stealing their attention and also their money in the long run. And it doesn't provide any real benefit other than the dopamine rush. So those are apps that I want to build apps that improve people's lives. So that's why I don't build candy apps. It would be much easier to get traction building those types of apps though, because obviously they hook people's attention because they play on, our human nature. But that's just not why I'm building. That's not the purpose behind what I'm doing. So I avoid doing that. And I avoid vitamin products as well because I want to build products that help improve my user's life and that they hopefully will miss if it ever went missing. So I'm here to try to solve problems in my users' lives and improve their life through that. Next is the payment model. So I have major subscription fatigue. So I want to avoid subscriptions at all costs if I can. So instead of subscriptions, I'm looking for ideas that can be built with a pay once, use forever model or pay as you go. I just don't want my users to have to rent my software, especially when some months, hey, if they're not going to use it, they shouldn't pay anything. So that's my thoughts on that. Next is I need to have a defined marketing channel figured out to get my first customers. So I just basically need to know where I could talk to people that may be interested in the product and get my first initial customers. So that could be a social media platform, could be an in real life community. It could be various things, but I just need to figure out what that marketing channel is before I even write a single line of code. And last but not least, this final constraint might be the most important of them all, actually. I need to be excited about the idea. because without that, I don't have the motivation. So I need something, an idea I truly care about, because without that motivation, the idea, the execution is just not going to be there, and it will be more likely to be a flop because it's just not something I'm going to put my all into if it's something I don't care about. And I did have a final constraint, but I actually did end up dropping this because my constraints were too constraining, actually. So I had to drop one, but I'm looking to hopefully add this constraint back in the future. It just canceled out all my other constraints, so I was left with nothing to build. And the constraint was B2B. So I wanted to build a business-to-business app or some type of SaaS as business to business, but my business to business ideas just didn't fit into any of my other constraints. I wasn't super excited about any of them. And, they were just, some of them were overly complex and just ideas. For the most part, I just wasn't excited about them. None of them felt right. So for now, I'm dropping that constraint, but I'm hoping that with the B2C idea that I'm working on now, the process of building this will lead me to more B2B ideas, because, when you're building businesses, you run into problems that other businesses have. So I just need to keep building until good B2B ideas find me. Now, if you're really stuck with no ideas, try doing this. So number one, I would try the idea exercise that Peter Levels has in his book, Make. It's in the first chapter. And what it is, it's 7 days of identifying problems in your life and coming up with solutions to those problems that will help solve that. Now, you come up with 3 every day, and then you come up with 3 solutions. So what this does is it trains your brain to think like a maker. I had a Google Doc, and I would sit down for every day for 7 days and do this. But then I would go for a walk, I would go exercise or something like that, or I'd even be in the shower, and all of a sudden ideas are just flowing to me. And it's I could really feel my mind was just starting to just look for problems, in a good way though. And so yeah, it led me to some days I would have 6 ideas when I'm only supposed to have 3. And I started to realize wow, this is just really just getting me into the habit of thinking of that maker mindset, really. So that is one thing you can do when you're stuck. And then next is just think less and build more. Build a project, whatever it is, ship fast, get feedback and new ideas in the process. Where you start is not your end. So it's just important to stay moving and keep building stuff. And just by building stuff, it will lead you to better ideas. So stay active and stay building. Now let's talk about what I'm working on now. My current project is called SafeSelect, and it's a tool that will help you avoid harmful ingredients and products you buy when you're online grocery shopping. It will also help you avoid food that is outside your custom dietary guidelines, whether you have allergies or if you're just on a diet. The goal is to simplify the online shopping process, because right now it feels to me that I need to be a biochemist just to understand a product label. And I want to spend less time researching and still be able to shop with intention, because I do care about my health and I want to buy products that align with optimizing my long-term health. So this tool will help me do that. That's what I'm building. I've given myself 4 weeks to get this built, because one of my constraints was I need to have the MVP built in under a month. So I've given myself a month, and I've already been working on it for a bit. So expect a launch in July. I can't wait to get this out to you guys. I'm currently in BuildSpace Season 5 with this idea as well. It's my first time in BuildSpace. I've built products in accelerators before though, so I see some parallels between BuildSpace and accelerators, but at the same time, BuildSpace isn't actually an accelerator, and it's very unique with the culture and structure of the program. So I see a lot of differences as well that are really cool, and it's been a great experience so far. It's a 6-week program, and we just started week 3, so I guess I'm about to be halfway through, but we'll see how it is. But at the end, once I'm done the program, I'm going to make a podcast episode about my BuildSpace experience and let you guys know how it was basically and how SafeSelect is doing. So till then, I best get back to building. Expect the pod schedule to be a bit sporadic as I balance building with everything else. I'm aiming for quality, not quantity with episodes, so you'll only hear from me when I have some value to offer. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, but I need you guys to do one thing. Depending on what platform you're listening on, don't forget to review, like, subscribe, and comment. We got to make the algorithms happy and push this podcast to more people. All right. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Take care.